Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys are staying safe. I hope you guys are staying inside. Today I have a makeup tutorial for you, and it's actually going to be on my current foundation and contouring routine. So I'm going to start off this video with my eyes already done, and I apologize if the lighting is not great. It's really gloomy outside. My ring light's about to give out on me. I don't know what's going on. So, but I still feel like I managed to get somewhat decent lighting, but if you're wondering why it looks a little different, that's why. If you guys enjoy this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see how I do my current foundation and contouring routine, it is cream by the way, keep on watching. Okay, so the first thing that we are going to do is moisturize. I already did the rest of my skincare earlier, but I have yet to moisturize. So I'm going to be using this guy. This has been one of my favorite moisturizers, and it's really crazy to see how much my skincare has changed within the last maybe year or two. And I guess it's because of age, you know? Being now in my late 20s, I think that has a lot to do with it, and I'm really into just, retaining as much moisture as I can, so that way we can hopefully age gracefully. So this is from Bliss. This is their Explosion Moisturizer. And like I said, I've been using it for a while already. So we're just gonna apply this generously all over. It feels really good. It is thick, but I also like that it's kind of like sticky, so that's why I love using it kind of as a primer before my foundation. So for today's foundation, I'm going to be using the Maybelline Superstay. This is in the shade 112 Natural Ivory. I'm going to be applying this with a beauty sponge. This one is from Shop Miss A. I've talked about these sponges before. This is a really affordable dupe for beauty blenders. This is probably one of the best affordable sponges I have ever come across. I order them in insane amounts at a time because I love keeping them on hand, and they're great for my kit, so highly recommend them. I'm actually going to apply the foundation right onto the sponge, and I'm going to start to apply that all over. This foundation is high coverage. It is on the matte side, which is why I'm comfortable using this moisturizer underneath as a primer, as opposed to a primer that's a little bit more heavy and that's also meant to mattify. I like that this one will help still balance out the finish. And once the foundation is on evenly, I'm very extra careful not to mess up my eye area. So as you can see, the foundation is really full coverage, and it does dry down to a more matte finish. So now we're going to go on to the cream contouring part. I'm probably at my fairest right now, so it's kind of tricky for me to find a good contouring color, because if it's too dark or too orange, it will pull very nasty, and obviously I want it to be contrasting enough to where it does contour and do its job. So currently right now what I've been using and seems to be working with my current skin tone is the LA Girl Pro Conceal, and this is the shade Cool Tan, so it seems to be quite appropriate. So with this product, it does have a brush on applicator at the tip, which I've always enjoyed about these concealers. I'm going to dispense some on the back of my hand to work with, and I'm first going to place it where I want to hollow out and contour my cheekbones. So it's going to be right about here, and I'm just going to do about like 3 strokes, nothing crazy. And then I'm also going to do my forehead. And then I'm going to do just a little bit on the jaw here, and also just a tiny bit on the upper lip. And that's it. You can contour your nose as well. I'm going to do that with powder though, just because it's easier and faster for me. So if I really wanted to take the time to do this like hardcore glam, I probably would do that. So now to blend everything out, I'm going to be using one of my favorites, and I've actually been using this for years for blending out cream contour, and it is the e.l.f. stippling brush. So I love that it's small enough to get into those smaller areas, but yet it does the job of blending everything out really well. So I'll start off with my forehead area first and blending all that out. So basically I kind of like to go in circles, and I'm kind of not even lifting the brush off of my skin. And I'm beginning to blend that out. As once it's already started to blend, then I'm stippling and just kind of patting it downward. So for the cheekbone part, what you're going to want to do is basically the same thing. Only thing with this one is that you really want to be careful not to blend down too much, because if you start to blend down a lot, you're going to defeat the purpose of the contour and it'll look a little bit muddy and displaced. So I try to focus more so on, instead of blending down the side of my face, I kind of focus more on pushing this product just in to help blend it into the foundation, and then up. Also, if you blend it up and you get a little bit of a deeper color here, it's going to contrast very nicely when you put highlight on, so it's going to really pop more. And then for the jaw and chin, I'm basically going to be swiping this back and forth. Until it's all blended out. This is why it's also really important on how much product you are placing, because if you place too much and you have too much to work with, it's really, really hard to blend it out evenly, because where is it going to go but all over your face, or down too far or up too high. So placing the right amount is crucial, and my recommendation would be to place too little at first. That way you can at least add on, because it's easier to add on than it is to take off. And then for the lip portion, or if you did your nose as well, I would suggest taking a tinier brush with a little bit of a fluffier head, and we're going to use this to blend out. And this one's fairly easy too. I am just pushing the product into my skin, but then blending down. So like basically it's going to go on my lips. Okay, so now moving on to the highlighting portion. So today I did do contour first and then highlight. You can choose to do it the opposite way. You can choose to do your highlight and concealing first and then your contour. It's totally up to you. I've done it both ways, but my personal recommendation, especially if you are someone that is new to this, is definitely to do it one at a time. Don't put on both contour products and highlighting products, because then I feel that's really intimidating and really overwhelming, and it's actually pretty difficult to blend out if you aren't careful. So to keep things nice, neat, and in place, I recommend doing, one before the other. So for highlighting today, I'm going to be using this matte concealer. This is their 24-hour smooth wear concealer in the shade NW15. I personally like a really big contrast to my highlight and like my concealer, highlight, my foundation, all that, because I really, really want it to stand out. You don't have to do such a stark contrast. You can definitely keep it on the neutral side, but I definitely recommend at least 1 to 3 shades lighter than your foundation color. So for this, I'm going to start to apply first underneath the eye area. So I'm going to actually start on the inner corner of my eye, and I'm going to begin to fan it out slightly and out this way. So a couple of things here. I'm actually just going to leave it like that. I'm not going to drag it out anymore, because lately I've been really conscious of how far out I'm dragging my concealer, and I'm kind of more into the look of not so much a obvious triangle on my under eye area, just slightly, but more so blending it into my bronzer and blush, because I have been bringing my blush further in on my cheeks as of recently. I know it's kind of the trend right now, and that's just basically what we're doing. I'm going to put a little bit down the bridge of my nose too. Tiny bit on my center of the forehead and a little bit on my chin. And now we're going to blend with the same sponge that we were using, and on the bridge of the nose too, just being careful not to really blend it out much where else other than just the bridge of my nose. center of my chin. So once everything's all blended out, I'm actually going to be setting with two different types of powders, and I have recently revisited the Laura Mercier translucent setting powder just because it's an oldie and a goodie, and I just wanted to start using it again. But I'm also going to take a little bit of the fair translucent powder from Ben Nye because it does actually create a nice color on my skin tone. So I'm actually going to mix the two together and then set with that concoction. Set any type of creams with powder, you definitely want to make sure all your creases are blended away, because once that powder goes on, there's no turning back. So I'm actually going to be setting with my damp sponge as well, just dipping right into the powder mixture and pressing on. And then I'm just going to keep pressing until the powder has just melted into the creams and I don't see any more powder sitting on my face. As far as setting my face, that's basically all that I want to set with powder for today, because I really only look for oil control in those areas where, well, one, underneath my eyes where it can crease, and then the center of my forehead and chin where I tend to get oilier, and nose. If I wanted this to be a little bit longer lasting and heavy duty, I would go over just with a light layer of pressed powder. But with that being said, I do like to powder set a little bit with some bronzer for the contoured areas. So when I do that, I do like to use a brush that is a little bit more less likely to deposit too much product. So I'm going to be using the Morphe M509, which is just a larger tapered brush, and I like to use this because it is a real hair brush. So with that being said, it's going to hold on to more of the product than it is going to be depositing it. And since we already have the contour on, I don't feel the need to really deepen it. I just want to set it. So I'll be using the Benefit Hoola bronzer to do that. Still tapping off any excess on my brush and literally just lightly going over those areas. It may not seem like a crazy difference or a crazy step, but it will help just kind of make it last longer and stay all day in place. And so now that we're here with our powder product, I'm going to now contour my nose, like I said earlier, with powder. I'm going to be using my favorite brush for that, which is the Morphe R8. I've talked about this way too many times on my channel already. You can choose to use another contour powder if you want to, something more cool tone, but since my Hoola bronzer is just in front of me already, I'm just going to go ahead and use that. I only pick up product on the side of the brush, so you can kind of see there where product has already stained the bristles, that I only use the side. And I'm going to kind of just lightly press against the side of my nose on both sides. And then lately what I've been enjoying is I will take a little bit of the same powder on another brush that's tight enough, small enough and tight enough to get into this corner here, and I will just kind of brush on a little bit just to kind of deepen that contour that we naturally have. I feel like it just kind of helps, makes the eyes look bigger, makes the nose contour look more natural. It's just one of those extra little steps that I feel like is small but makes a big difference. So now going on to highlighting, which I've actually have changed my routine on that a lot too as of recently. I've kind of not been highlighting my cheekbones as much anymore. Some days I do, some days I don't. It really just depends how I'm feeling. But I do make sure to still highlight my top lip cupid's bow and also the bridge of my nose just to help with the nose contour. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. I'm going to be using my Morphe M510 brush and my Balm Mary Luminizer. And I'm just going to dust this right at the top. When putting on the top lip highlighter, you want to be careful not to put on like too much all around this area. You really do want to work on just dusting this to where it's barely touching the lip line on your Cupid's bow, because that's going to help bring it out, but not make your whole upper lip look shiny. And then for the nose part, I'm going to be using a pencil brush to grab product and place directly on here. You can use your fingertip to do this. I just like it really precise, so that's why I use a brush. Act it on the tip. And then for blush, now finally, I'm going to be using more of a matte blush. It has a tiny bit of sheen to it, but nothing that is going to make us look any more glowy or dewy. So this is from Bare Minerals. This is called their Bellini Brunch Blush. And it's just like a really pretty peach color. So I'm applying this on with an Aesthetica brush. This one is the P12 brush. And like I said earlier, I like to bring my blush a little bit closer to the inner part of my cheeks these days. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start by kind of pressing up here still at the temple, or closer to the temple, and then I'll work my way down. And then if I feel like I still need a little bit more color here on the apples of my cheek, I'll just grab a tiny bit more. Then I do like take a little bit and just go right across the tip of my nose, just lightly. So I'm going to go ahead and finish off my eyebrows, the rest of my eyes, and put on some lipstick, and I will be right back. Alright, so I have my eyes done, brows on, lips on, and this is the final look. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please stay safe, stay inside. If you have any questions on this whole routine, let me know in the comments. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video, and hit subscribe if you are not subscribed to my channel already. I hope to be turning out more videos, so look forward to that. Other than that, I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.